Second
back.
try, it works.
We're back. You let people in on the secrets, not recording, whatever. Technical difficulties.
Behind the scenes details. It's what the people want to see.
It's been a long summer off. The Office Ladies podcast, my favorite, does show that for a fact that behind the scenes is what everybody wants. So
correct.
We need a making of podcast for the podcast. Clearly,
behind the podcast.
Tuesdays with Drake. Behind the podcast. We need new hosts though, because like obviously we can't do it if it's somebody else. So we got to figure that out.
True.
But we are back. The NBA is almost back. Your league champion and commissioner, Chris Tezak, your league runner-up and not commissioner, but commissioner friend, Nat Levy. We're back in the house with pre-draft special. Lots of good things. Although it sounds like
also lots of bad things.
Also lots of bad things. We're basically back to 2020 because 2020 never ended. So it's 2020 season part 2.
We're at least a little bit better. Like, you know, this list of all the people I have to talk about who are risky is not just everybody in the entire league because no one can do anything about it. It's all by choice now. Yay.
Hey, don't tread on my freedoms, Nat.
I will tread over what I want to tread over. Don't tell me what not to tread on.
Are you going to be rolling some coal in the pickup truck down the street later? Is that how that's
right.
going to work?
Texas, baby.
Nice.
Texas forever.
So on tap for the pre-draft special, we're going to talk some injuries, folks maybe to consider, maybe stash in the late rounds or might disrupt or not. Some vaccinated, not vaccinated game, who lovely folks behind us, case in point. And then if you're not going to take those people, maybe some recommendations on some rookies, some sleepers, and some things to watch out for in our draft. As folks will recall, we are not standard to our lovely old man resident Joe's disgruntlement. So things to watch out for in the draft. All right. So, Nat, what should we look for out there in the grand, sad landscape of NBA preseason injuries and holdouts?
As someone who is usually dealing with 3 to 4 injuries at any given time.
You mean personally?
Yes.
Personally?
Yes. Yeah. Right now I have a bum knee and a sore back, so that's fun. But I'm looking at, there's a lot of guys this year who were coming into the season and they're going to be on the bench for a while. And there's big names, there's medium names, and there's slightly smaller names. But all of whom would be pretty impactful in our league. And I guess at the top line names, I feel like everyone knows. Klay Thompson, who had maybe the most ridiculous, tragic bad luck of injuries in a row of any non-Blazer in recent memory.
Okay.
He's dealing first. What was it? First he tore an Achilles, then he tore an ACL. He missed all of the last 2 seasons, but the team thinks he might be on track for a January return, which like put him on that team and here they come again. You know, they might be old, but they still have all the pieces in place. They don't have the amazing bench anymore though.
I feel like Klay's the biggest risk reward, but do you think he's going to be back? You think he's coming back full Klay?
I wouldn't. I don't know if he'll be capable of it, but I think he'll come back as good as he possibly can be. Like he'll do everything he could possibly do to get back. But like, what would you pay for 80 to 90% of Klay is still of peak Klay is still a guy who will get you a bunch of threes on high percentage, a lot of steals, couple assists, ridiculously good free throw percentage, though probably not on that many attempts.
But that's true though. I think his efficiency good for the league. Like he's a scorer.
He doesn't ever turn it over because he never dribbles. And he despite the fact that he only shoots threes, he shoots a very good percentage. And he shoots good from 2 because he posts up smaller guys a lot and he's like very scary down there. So 80 to 90% of Klay, I'll take it. Next,
very scary down there.
Next is Jamal Murray. who tragically tore his ACL last year as Denver was rolling and looking like they could beat pretty much anyone. And an ACL is, depending on who you ask, 9 to 12 month recovery. That would put him somewhere between January and April. So you'd have to hold on to him for, in the best case, half the season, in the worst case, the whole season, basically. So that, enter at your own risk. And then there's, I'm kind of going down the list of like most optimistic to least optimistic here.
I see.
And these are the star players. So we have Pascal Siakam. He probably should have been in front of Clay. He tore his labrum and apparently like didn't get surgery on it until like a little bit later.
Oh yeah, he like held out getting surgery for a long time. Weirdly,
yeah,
I remember that.
They had some stuff. That's why everyone thought he was gonna get traded, because he didn't get along well with the org for a while. But it sounds like they patched everything up and are good. But he had his I think he had his surgery in June, and like the initial reports at the time were 5 months. So that would put him in November. So that's only probably 10 to 15 games that he's gonna miss. So that's a good one for a stash if you've got the top line talent that you could sacrifice the mid-round pick for.
Yeah, also stud in the league though. Like Siakam is a round
he shoots
out.
A super low percentage.
Does he? I thought he shot an okay percentage given his other stat production.
No, he's not. I mean, he had a really down year last year for most of the year. He had some time where he came on, I think towards the end before they shut him down, but he had a really, really hard start to the year. So, it's a question of like, was that just a funk? Is that who he is without better players around him? He's going to have a bigger role, obviously, with no Lowry. So
yeah, he could be getting the ball a lot if he
could have a jump, or he could not. He could kind of reveal himself as a guy who can't be a 1 or a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we have up next is Kawhi Leonard, who tore his ACL in the playoffs. He probably won't play this season. If only because, like I said, 9 to 12 months. That would put him April at best. So that's basically the end of our season, the start of the NBA postseason. So unless there's some sort of miracle from the guy who, like, anytime he feels a slight tinge, decides to sit out 10 games, he probably won't be coming back next year. But maybe, you never know. I mean, for real basketball, he might be back around playoff time. And then there's everyone's favorite, Zion Williamson, who had an undisclosed foot surgery in the offseason that nobody knew about, that the team just kind of like by the way on media day.
I didn't even know about that. Wait, what?
You didn't know about this? Yes.
No.
Yeah, he had like a random foot surgery during the offseason that no one knew about and no one told anyone about. And they just disclosed it at their media day like a week ago. And so no one knows what's going to happen now. They seem to be confident that he will play to start the season, or if he does miss time, it'll be very minimal. But anytime you have a 300-pound wrecking ball whose like primary talent is being huge and fast, and his feet start to fail him, that's a scary thing.
Yeah, that's no good. And just so I was looking up the ranking while you're talking. So Zion, big risk. He's up in the second round for us. Siakam, I think we looked at, is down 5th, 6th round. But Clay, way out, like 200s. League.
I mean, I think that I think the league the rankings just doesn't buy that he will be a viable person continuing on with all those injuries.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's some risks there. There's some upside there. There's also the other side of this. There's a bunch of other like lower level guys, not lower level, but like next tier down. There's TJ Warren, who has a stress fracture. He could be back in about a month.
And that's good. TJ Warren is a good mid-round rotation, like solid stat guy in our league too. So like that's an interesting one of like that could be a good long-term play if somebody like him drops down a couple rounds.
Mm-hmm. There's Victor Oladipo. He tore his quad. No real timeline on him. So there's just not really anything. He has a long list of injuries, so like that's a hard one to pull a trigger on.
If he's healthy, does he even get drafted in our league? I don't think so this season. I think
he'll goes get drafted. He'll get drafted just for defense. He is really good defense. He gets a lot of steals, but he's not very efficient. So who knows?
He was bad last season. He's just been not good last couple seasons.
Well, he's not been healthy. Fair. And then the other one, and then we've got Mitchell Robinson, Mitch Rob, my personal favorite, who I always end up with somehow. He broke his foot towards the end of last season. No timeline on that, but the team thinks he's close. Once again, big guys and feet. You just don't want it. And a couple guys from your Chicago Bulls, Kobe White and Patrick Williams.
Kobe's irrelevant anymore. Patrick Williams is actually bad for that team. I wouldn't draft him, but tough. They need him back to be good because he was going to be a key, I think, piece.
Oh yeah, he's a ceiling raiser for them for sure.
For sure, Kobe White with Ball and Satoransky is almost irrelevant. They're probably going to get rid of him after the season. But yeah, Williams makes me sad as a Bulls fan.
And then from the Chicago Bulls, we move to Michael's Orlando Magic. Who have a pair of busted ACLs in Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, who has other issues that we'll discuss later. Fultz's tear was in January of 2020. That means he could be back somewhat soon, but again, checkered history, so who knows how much of a rush they'll be in to back.
And with the rookie nipping at the heels,
maybe that'll push him to come back because I don't want to lose my job to Mr. Suggs.
I think that'll be an interesting dynamic in the back half of the season.
They might be able to play together also because they're both big. Like neither one of them is particularly small, so they could do like a 1-2 together. Maybe I don't even know who else is on the team and who that would displace.
I don't think anybody on the backcourt. They don't have a ton back there that are like, non-cutters, exactly, essentially.
Yeah. And then we have Jonathan Isaac, who tore his ACL in the bubble of like last summer, a million years ago. He's still murky. He doesn't have like a timeline to return. So maybe he'll play at the beginning of the season. Maybe he won't, but he seems to be spending more time making the rounds on Fox News than doing his rehab and recovery. So I don't know what the deal is with him. And I guess that brings us to the next thing, right? We have some prominent anti-vaxxers in our who you may have to think about when you're getting ready to draft. Andrew Wiggins got the vaccine, breaking news as of yesterday. So he caved after his religious exemption with the city of San Francisco did not go through.
Legitimate output too. Like that's good for the fantasy owners. He was decent last season. Like a lot of mildly empty calories, but still enough empty calories to make him playable.
It's like a Subway sandwich. Like it's kind of filling. It's not that great, but like if you need something to eat, it's there.
Yeah, he didn't spend a lot. Like fine. It'll get the job done. Yeah, I like that Subway sandwich. It's a good one.
If he comes with the double meat though, then we'll see. And then the other guys on this, I'm just gonna leave that one behind. Cut that out during editing, right?
We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. And then we've got a couple more. And there's of course your background, the lovely Kyrie Irving. Would you like to describe his situation, or you want me to do it?
Can you describe Kyrie's situation, like in general, in metaphysical terms?
No one can.
I mean, nobody probably knows what he's going to do. Like, truly, like, I don't think anybody would know what he's ever going to do. And this especially, I think he's the riskiest of anybody, injury or not. Like, I don't think you can touch him because, like, who knows what's going to happen.
If he doesn't do it, you're basically paying whatever. What's he ranked around 40th?
Yeah, I think 3rd or 4th round. Yeah.
So yeah, you're paying a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick for a guy who may or may not only play half the season.
I mean, yeah, if he's dropping to like, the late rounds and you got nothing else, it's like him or Kem Birch or something, I guess you go for him. But like I wouldn't. There's a lot better value. There's a lot better value of no risk for him for sure.
My friend, the best ability is availability, as they say, and he's not going to be very available if he doesn't keep this up. So we'll see what happens. And then there's the guy in my background here, Mr. Bradley Beal, very good basketball player.
Is that all right? All right. Oh, former owner from last season,
doer of his own research, and he basically said, well, if people still getting COVID, why should I get the vaccine? So he's not really impacted because DC doesn't have a rule like New York where you can't play if you're unvaccinated. However, it's still a risk that he could come down, he could catch it and miss, a week or two.
They can't play though in the places that have the mandates, right? So like
only the home teams that matter.
Only the home teams.
Yeah. So he can play at the New Yorks and the Golden States.
That's lame. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty lame to me, actually. Like that if you're gonna actually fix it, that's not enough pain for those people.
Yeah, and then Isaac is another one who is prominent, as we mentioned. We just don't really know his status, obviously, overall. So he's pretty murky. He's an upside pick for sure. But
it's unfortunate too, because traditionally, in another year and universe, he would be a upside sleeper even in a low round, given his potential output, especially on the defensive side in our league.
And with two capable passers now in their backcourt too, like they'll have better ball movement than they've had in a long time, probably.
He should theoretically have a huge season if he was healthy and fully engaged. Neither of which seems likely, unfortunately.
I guess we'll see. Yeah, who knows?
I project Michael to take him in the 7th round.
7. What round do you project him to take Suggs in?
Suggs, like the 3rd.
Nope. You'll never do it. I'm calling you out right now. You don't have the guts.
What round are you calling? Because it's obviously happening. Like, let's just be honest. Unless somebody steals them from him.
I could see a certain cranky man coming in and swooping him up like a round early, and just setting off a bomb in the draft. So I'm kind of hoping that happens personally.
I can see that.
I honestly, Michael is a logical being, I feel, but he's also a homeristic being. And when his homerism and his logic collide, I don't know who wins.
It's true, he will be hard pressed. We'll get to that. We'll come back to this, but he has other key players that are heavily disfavored by our league. So his draft night will be very interesting. We should have him on next week for our post-draft takes for sure.
If you're gonna overdraft anyone on that team, Suggs is definitely the one to do it with.
I think I agree with that for sure.
He's got the keys to the car, so to speak, and he could definitely go. So it'll be interesting to see what he does.
So
I have some rookie of the year stuff out there. He wouldn't take my bet of him versus the field because his logic beat out his homerism there. So
as soon as there's money on the table, or
it matters,
or a W at stake, unfortunately he doesn't stick.
Not a true believer.
Michael, I'm sure you're listening. Come and defend your honor next week. We're glad to have you. So
I'm laying out the challenge.
So you've talked some injuries. We've talked some anti-vaxxers. One final wild card in the season, the ignominiable Ben Simmons.
Simmons? Is something going on with him?
I've heard some rumblings that I think he's unhappy. Like, I'm not sure.
Poor guy.
I think he's tired. I think he's eaten enough cheesesteaks. I think he's got some indigestion. And he's just over. Well,
when you go from Vegemite to cheesesteak, that's a tough transition.
Oh man, rolling into Vegemite. Oh, I love it. Deep reference.
He's Australian.
I know. It's a good reference. I'm saying it's good reference. So I think the question, legit question, is he draftable? Like is there any hope that he plays basketball this season at this point? Because I am actually quite moved to the point where I don't think anybody's picking him up because they think he's radioactive at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I think there will be another round. I think at this point, I think we're done for now. Like, someone was going to make a move. They were going to do it before the training camp started, because now they're like putting all their shit in and like getting the team set. And you don't bring in a guy like that who you have to kind of rebuild everything around at this stage when you've already just installed everything. There's probably two other points in which you could see him moved. And one is probably like late December, which is when all the like recently signed free agent guys are able to be traded. You can't trade a free agent guy until a couple months in. And, you know, somebody is going to be disappointing and say, oh, I need to do something to spice things up to keep my job or, you know, keep this team engaged. So that's one spot. And then the other spot would, of course, be trade deadline. Like if Dallas is sitting out there like in the 3rd seed and is saying like, oh, man, we have a shot, let's throw it all in. And you could see them, you know, pushing in all the chips for Simmons in that kind of scenario. So I think those are the couple of scenarios in which he can move this year.
I like the trade deadline take. I think I agree with that take at this point. I very much think that, yeah, you're too close to the season. He's cancer, like good, bad, or otherwise, like nobody seems to want to deal with that too soon. I like trade deadline take. Was Dallas a random selection, or do you think him and Luka could work? Because that was a curious choice, and
it was kind of a random selection.
Okay,
see it possibly, but they're both pretty ball dominant, so who knows?
I think Luka would punch him.
I mean, it seems like a lot of people might want to punch Luka at some point. He's a little bit of whiny.
This season he's got to be different. I think truly, like last season he got super whiny. And like there was a lot of like blowhard takes from, you know, the Barkleys and the Shaqs of the world about him not being a leader and other crap like that. But he did get real whiny at the end of the season, and it was clearly like not positive for his game.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be an interesting, very, very like taked upon observation of whether or not he's a whiny bitch.
Well, we'll see what happens with Jason Kidd at the helm too. Also, don't forget about that. They're going to be a weird team.
That could be an implosion this season. Like that could go real bad, real bad. maybe it's Simmons for Luka. Ooh, Luka and Embiid, that would be a fun combination.
That would be a very good combination. The Knicks are sitting there like, nah, we're gonna get in there on that one. We've got all the trade assets.
Julius Randle somewhere involved, maybe.
No, they build around him.
Okay. Yeah. You can't get rid of NBA 2021 NBA All-Pro Julius Randle. Like you can't do that.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. And they just paid the man too.
It's true. They did.
I just picked Dallas because they were like a mid-seed team that maybe could get hot.
Fair.
With a star player.
I think Denver would be an interesting. Although again,
I think that would be foolish.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, Murray's coming back. That's true. That's I'll take back that take.
You don't take the ball out of Jokic's hands. Also,
yeah. Retract.
No, in fact, if we're gonna talk wacky trade destinations, I would put, if I were Dame, I would put Denver on number 1 on my list and get myself traded for Murray, and then Portland could suck, get a great draft pick, and then Jamal Murray the following.
Oh man, Dame on the Nuggets would be amazing. I wouldn't even be mad.
I'd probably just move to Denver at that point. I'd be like, okay, I'm coming too. I'm gonna get. And
man, they'd be so good. They'd score 1,000 points a night. Oh.
Anyway,
dreams. So I think Simmons I think is the biggest risk because like he is decent in our league. He's high value. You might never play him. I'm really curious. Maybe I'll draft him. I think Siakam's similar in terms of like typical value versus risk. And then I think you'll get some stashers for the Clays and those type of folks. It'll be an interesting choice. Man, somebody draft Kyrie. I don't know. We'll talk to them.
Yeah. Well, if whoever drafts Kyrie is coming on next week, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Somebody does.
Hopefully it's Michael. I'm gonna challenge Michael to both draft Kyrie and all the Magic, and then we can talk all about it next week.
Suggs round 1, Kyrie round 2.
Yes.
Let's go.
Controversial draft. Yes. Oh man. On that note, so one thing uh, uh, PSA for the league.
This is
Be
good.
mindful.
Doing your commissioner job here.
Commissioner job, legitimately. We are a non-standard league. Yahoo is not always great. It does adjust the rankings in various portals. So on the mobile app or on your draft rankings, our league configuration is affecting the rankings. So if you look at it and you see Jokic, who I think is just universally number one across whatever, because he's obviously number one. If you see Jokic and then like some guards, that's not our league configuration. If you see Jokic and like Cat and some other big men, to Joe's chagrin, that is our league configuration. So keep that in mind, so that you don't underdraft. Some big changes, which we have noted due to those rankings. LeBron in normal rank is up in like second round. With our league rank, he's down in the 50s, which is pretty funny. But I think partly because he also didn't play a lot of games last season. So I think we actually had many discussions last season about how many games the people like LeBron who drafted them were losing because they didn't have LeBron. So I think maybe that's actually not a bad pick selection for him. Westbrook, who could win or lose every week himself via turnovers and percentage or triple doubles, hilariously is down in the 8th round. So that
he's kind of a question mark this year, right? Like, I wonder where he would be if he still had his own team, because like, there's like a 50-50 chance, I feel like, that he will do exactly the same thing, because he'll basically be in charge of the team for the regular season while LeBron kind of chills out and like paces himself. Or it could be a totally awkward fit and he could just be like wildly inefficient but not getting his other stuff. So he's the risk too. But
that's right, I forgot he's on Lakers.
Upside.
That is interesting though. Like, I think actually that's I think our league shows that like you're going to be splitting a lot of stats between LeBron and Westbrook this season for sure. Like that there's one ball and there's a lot of people on that team that need the ball that aren't going to get it.
But there's also a lot of people who need to like take it easy throughout the year.
Yeah. It's going to be
an old ass team. Like that's a bunch of old dudes with ice packs all over their body every day. And Westbrook is probably the spryest of them all, of those big three guys, in terms of his like still having his speed and athleticism and stuff. And so like I could totally see a scenario where he's like the general during the season, and then as the postseason comes in, he takes more of a back seat, or he's assumed that he will take a back seat, does not, and they implode. That's what I'm rooting for.
I think that's going to be one of the more interesting things to watch, because also if anybody gets injured, right, like on that team, somebody's going to get a lot like that. That's almost like the preferred scenario. I think if you're picking one of those guys, is like one of those other people gets injured and then it's like a real rotation, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, like, on the same thing as Westbrook, on the same thing as like Kyrie missing half the season, do you kind of just have to bet that like Anthony Davis and LeBron are both going to miss 15 to 20 games apiece?
I think so. LeBron for sure. LeBron's not playing 80 games. LeBron's not playing.
He wants to. He does.
He says it.
No, he definitely does. Like, he's very much like, he's got this like lifelong philosophy where he's always been like, I don't want to be like, if this is like the one game that like this kid comes to see me and has never been able to, and then I just sit out, I'm going to like ruin his life. He's said that a lot of times. So like, and he tries to play as much as humanly possible, but I could definitely see where the Lakers are doing a little bit of like, okay, we're going to shut you down today, and you're just not going to play, or we're going to shut you down for the week, or et cetera.
I think so. And I think that's well reflected, because like Davis is like 20th, and like a healthy, playing every night Davis is
second.
Is easily
the second pick.
No question. So like, I think actually some of that is, I think, factored in correctly, because like I wouldn't draft him first round, because I know there's going to be weeks he's not playing, like guaranteed. Whereas Ayton is playing every night for the whole season. Like Gobert, Capella, like these other big guys who are obviously like Vucevic, like Embiid. There's even
Well,
Collins.
Embiid is also missing 20 games every year.
Yeah, I know you're right. I should have said him. But like there are a lot of those people that are like from a fantasy perspective, like they're gonna give you those 3 or 4 games a week every week. Like they're way more valuable, even if it's slightly less production. Like, you're not going down to somebody like, I don't know, Kem Birch, but
why are you hating on Kem Birch so much?
it's just the name that's in my head. It's just the name that's in my head.
What has he done to you? How did he hurt you?
He's like just outside the draft, and he's in my head. And
he has an incredibly memorable name. That's part of it, I think.
He does have
a great name.
It's
first
also
round
like
name.
First round name because it's 2 syllables, right? It's like 2 single syllable names that they're distinctive, and it sounds good. It's fun.
And you have to say them both. Like you can't just say one.
Yeah.
Also, like I'm not fucking with a guy named Kem Birch. Like that dude will knock you out quickly.
It's true, because if you just say Kem, it almost sounds like it's like a stutter or something. Like you didn't like if it's
or you just mispronounce Ken.
Yeah. Oh man, poor guy. Now we're making fun of his name legitimately.
No, his name is amazing. We're not we're paying tribute to it.
All hail Kem Birch.
All name team.
Some other notable fun things about the rankings. We foreshadowed this, but Mo Bamba, contract year Bamba, identified with our wonderful friend Mikey's team name this season. In the standard Yahoo rankings is up in like the 110s, so mid-round in our rankings, which is quite notable since our rankings preface big men, and should preface big men that take threes. He actually drops 60 positions. So our league correctly identifies Mo Bamba's value.
Woo! Hot.
I will look forward to Mikey reaching on Mo Bamba. We'll see what round he goes in. Although I think that's probably is truly unfair. Maybe a bit unfair ranking. He could be quite good, but they do have other
contract
centers.
Yep.
But they do have other centers. They got Wendell Carter. They're probably gonna split time since the Magic always have 5 centers and play them all because they're ridiculous. So like, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be an interesting one.
A lot of Will C's this year. I feel like we don't have a whole lot of. No, we have a whole lot of Will C.
It is true. I think, well, because there's so many of those big guys that are like TBD, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of roster churn in some of those teams because of that. Like Sixers, I mean, like lots of guys on the rotation, and the Sixers could be like out of control this season. You got like Maxey, that's a sleeper. I mean, Fultz is basically a sleeper because if he comes back and healthy, that's like he could play.
Fultz on Orlando, but
I'm just like moving on to other potential sleepers.
So you're jumping into a different kind of Will C here.
Yeah, but like it's as an extension, like some of the sleepers that you would typically consider sleepers are because like the roster churn from this craziness could thrust people quite quickly into higher positions, which is always a thing that happens. But I feel like this season there's some bigger names that it could happen too. And then like you got rookies, so you got like Cade Cunningham, another guy that's actually impacted by our ranking difference by about 40 positions. He's like a solidly mid-round pick, and clearly going to get drafted because like he's like, is he Detroit's number 1 option right off the go? Like
Jeremy Grant, maybe
him, yeah. But he's starting every game, right? Like he's
he's the point guard now. He's the starting one.
So that's definitely a good pick. And I think the other big rookie that's probably out there that's gonna get
all those
picked,
top 4 are gonna do something.
Yeah, Green, but
top 4 or top 5 or whatever.
Problem with Green and was it Mobley is they're probably behind people. Is the Mobley especially, like he's gonna be like the third.
Mobley's gonna be in a weird spot. Like I'm as high on him as like anybody. Like I probably would have taken him number 1 in that draft if I had the GM hat on, just because bigs who can guard the perimeter and pass are the whole league right now.
Yeah.
But they just paid Jared Allen $100 million. So was he gonna play? Are they both gonna play? I don't know.
And you still got like Love hanging out there,
just doing Cleveland things.
Yeah, like they're becoming Orlando with their like quantity of
Portland, Larry Nance for nothing, all of those kinds of things.
And then Suggs, I think that, as we already mentioned, like that will be an interesting dynamic with the injuries and the other people, like, will he just become their starter and hold that for the rest of the season? Could be an interesting
Obviously,
watcher as well.
Cunningham was the number one pick in the draft. Who is going to be the best rookie in fantasy this season, in your opinion?
I think he's gonna be, because he's unquestionably gonna play every game. Like just from a production standpoint, I don't think anybody's gonna be able to touch that, even if he's like inefficient. I don't know enough of the other rookies, but like you're gonna get like Mobley, probably as a big guy would be best, but if he's does not playing or he's sharing a lot of time, like that's gonna knock a lot of his value down. So I think like Cade's a no-brainer for a guard. Otherwise, I think it's you're taking chances. Like, I guess it's more of like a, can you get the value without the risk? But that's the game. What about you? What do you think? Who are you taking?
Suggs is probably going to be the best rookie from a fantasy perspective. Is he the man on that team now? Like, he's the number one guy, right? Mikey, or chime in here if you're listening. Like, he's at the end of the game, he's taking the shot, I believe.
Not Cole Anthony.
Oh yeah, Cole Anthony, he exists. He's a guy. I don't know. I don't know enough about Cole Anthony to say anything.
The current. All right, let me give you the current starting depth chart. So says ESPN Orlando Magic page. Point guard Marco Fultz, who's out, with Cole Anthony behind him. Suggs, Terrence Ross, Okeke.
Terrence Ross, he's still there.
Okeke and Wendell Carter Jr. So yes, Suggs is taking those shots. So,
yep.
Wow.
So there you go. Yep.
That's a rough team.
Suggs first, Green or Cunningham. I think I'm not super high on Cunningham, so I can give you can cut the video for when he wins Rookie of the Year and is like a 25, 8 and 8 guy, and then replay it for me at the end of the season. But I like Green also. He's going to get a lot of opportunity with them going full rebuild tank power. He's going to get as many possessions as possible.
I think that it's all going to come down to where Green and Suggs might be better off is if they're not handling the ball, but I think Suggs probably will be handling the ball more often than not.
Yeah, he can do that. That is in his skill set.
It's all going to come down to turnovers, right? Like that's and defense. So who's better defensively of those three to balance out? Like obviously they're all going to be taking a lot of shots, and so efficiency will be debatable.
I buy Suggs on defense just because he's a crazy person.
He's got the energy.
Yeah, I could see him have like the bulldog steel power where he will just like slap the floor and like pick the pocket away from someone.
Gotcha. I think that'd be the interesting difference maker to balance it out, because I do think that will be the downside for Cade. He's going to be handling the ball every night. He's going to be on a bad team. He's going to probably have a lot of turnovers, and if he shoots like a mile percentage, as is known to watchers of the show, that will not do well in our league. You need to.
He's probably the only real triple-double threat out of that group.
Ooh.
So there's that part too. One or
Who
two
shoots
wins you the week every week.
Who shoots the three ball the best?
Out of all of those people, I think Suggs is the best shooter out of them, isn't he? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't watch.
He's a pretty good shooter, if I recall.
We need to see
about that, like top four.
Yeah, top four. Because after that, I mean, like people might like that. There's not many that are starting that are gonna.
Yeah, there's like Corey Kispert for the Wizards. He's probably the best shooter in the whole class. And there's other people too who I'm sure I'm forgetting.
There's obviously other people, but it's more of like, I think with a 10-team league like we have this season, there's a lot of value still going to be on the board that are like safe, if not starters, like 6th, 7th, guys playing 20 minutes a night guaranteed with like solid stat line. So like,
and that will be good for like if people get just totally wrecked by injuries, you will have. There were not a lot of options last year. When we got deep into that season and everyone was getting hurt, it was just like you were really scraping the bottom of the barrel for replacements. So it'll be nice to have a few more options if your whole team randomly falls apart for 3 weeks.
It's true. I think I started like 2 people that I drafted at the end in the championship round. That was pretty bad. I'm excited. I'm looking forward. So as we wrap up with all these fantastical recommendations, what's your strategy? I will be very publicly.
You're gonna run your system again.
Running it back. We're running it back. So the 3s Ds. Screw the shooters. So that we will be running it back. I will look forward to people trying to hate draft or copy my system. It's all out there. I'll sell the book to you any day. What is your going in plan? What do you got?
My going in plan is to draft Jokic. And,
get the first pick and draft Jokic. Good plan.
That's my plan at the top. And then at the bottom, my plan is to get all of the really good sleepers.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a guy. What a strategy. Thank you, the Enigma over here.
Can't give away too much. I'm not an open book like you.
I mean, we did admittedly not share our actual personal sleepers.
At least a couple.
I mean, we shared some.
Well, we just had them in common. So.
Yes, that's true. We decided against sharing who we want to actually draft.
Yes.
So yes.
Because then it would just give away what both of us were going to do, and that's not.
I do have to set the order here soon. We have to get the 10th.
I assume you're just going to random it, right?
Random it, but we have to get the 10th person in before I can set it. So I gotta text that particular person. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Draft Monday. We'll do a recap next week on the show. Hopefully with the lovely and friend of the show and always welcome Mike Ambinder. So hopefully we can get him on. Are you excited? You looking forward to the league? I hope you are.
I'm ready.
You ready?
And I have a built-in excuse for if my team sucks because I'm gonna have a baby in 3 weeks. So I have that built-in excuse. Or it will help me because I'll be up in the middle of the night and be like, ooh, I'll pick up this guy and this guy and this guy. However, I can tell you from football, I've won I think I've won 0 championships since I had a child.
Ooh, interesting stat.
After winning like all of them beforehand. So we'll see. We'll see what 2 does.
Didn't you also stop watching football?
Yeah, kind of.
That helps.
I definitely got all of my stuff from watching it myself too. Like I'm very much like I believe in my guys type of person. So if I'm not paying attention, my team is just trash.
Nat's binder's full of guys. Is that
yep.
That's that?
Yep.
GM Nat is useless without the binder. I think that's a good pre-draft special. I think this is a good return to form. I like it. We gotta now we just gotta follow through. I hope I don't get the last pick. I don't want that. That's all I have to say.
Back to back though.
That is true. I do like the back to back. Back to back is totally underrated. We'll see.
Well,
next week.
First pick.
Oh yeah, okay, Jokic.